It's a good tuna, but I think I paid too much.
I always wear my mask and wash my hands after going home.
I am the king of the ring.
Welcome to the Japan What Podcast, episode 186. And I am your host, Matthew PMBigelow.com. And I'm coming at you from the Aizumicho Studios in Shinjuku, Tokyo, Japan. The art of covering Japan Society 5.0, AI market trends, depopulation, migration, rising conflict in the Indo-Pacific. And we thank you for coming to today's show. I always have to catch myself from Indo-Pacific. The rising conflict in the Middle East. I've said that a few times. Don't catch myself. It's just like it rolls off the tongue. Where else is there rising conflict? The Middle East. And white people Middle East, which is like the Ukraine area leading into Azerbaijan and what is it? And some of those other random Central Asian countries where the Asian kind of fades into kind of white people. It's a really interesting group of people that live over there. And we're going to have to talk a little bit about that later in regards to the BRICS sessions that were held up last week. And I'll talk about it later because it's not exactly pertinent to Japan, and this is the Japan What Podcast, but it ties into Japan very clearly and logically and beautifully. Let's take a look here. Not too much going on. Oh yeah, you know what? I'll just say it. I've gone from living in a metropolis, Tokyo. I live in central Tokyo. 10 years ago, that's when the tourism started happening. But before that, there wasn't a noticeable amount of tourists here. And then it became a tourist destination. COVID happened. They all went away. Then the yen plummeted and we reopened the doors. Now it's just a real hodgepodge of everything. It's getting pretty bad. It's getting pretty bad. I hope the yen goes back up and scares a lot of these people off. It's just because I've never been a fan of mass tourism, and now I live in the thick of it, and I can't really complain because it's not like, I look like a tourist to the native population here. They don't assume I'm a resident, and so I have to deal with that. Like there's this national park near my house in central Tokyo called Shinjuku Gyoen. Beautiful park. It's really wonderful. It's a giant park, well maintained, beautiful all time of year. And you have to pay to get in, which usually would kind of scrape off the ruffian or knave-like behavior. If you want ruffian and knave-like behavior in Tokyo, you can go to Yoyogi Park. But in Shinjuku Gyoen, you're not supposed to drink or smoke or do all of that stuff. And it's just nice because there's no bicycles in there. There's no drinking, so you can take your family or go for a stroll or something like that. You really have to sequester such things once you live in a population that's condensed enough. It's like if you just leave the park open for everything, it becomes everything all at once. Then you try to do something there, and it's hard to do it because everything else is happening at the same time. But in Shinjuku Gyoen, you can take your kids there, you can go for a stroll, and you don't have to kind of worry about it. No longer. It's like I walked past with my daughter, like a baby with a stroller the other day, and it's a whole bunch of Arab dudes light up a smoke right like in the middle of the park. They just start blowing smoke everywhere. And my first instinct is like, have you no manners? But then it's like 2 seconds later, I see a bunch of white dudes with like strong 0.9% alcohol cans of Chew High soda, and they're just slamming them down. I'm like, have you no manners? It kind of goes from like a racial group to just, it's everyone breaking all the rules all the time. So it's a minor thing. It's a first world problem. But as I've long said for years now, years and years, first world problems are the best world problems. If you have first world problems, consider yourself lucky. And I don't really consider myself lucky because it's not like I get a lot of the tailwind of this tourism scourge. I don't get any of the income benefits of the spend. I should open up, I guess, a tobacco shop and a strong zero shop and just hand them out at a discounted price to all of the tourists walking by. Just be like, yes, I will accelerate the bad behavior if it means I can make some money off of it. Anyways, that's that. Couple of things that I would be remiss. I guess it's good to talk about that kind of idiotic stuff at the beginning. Just a very slight dive into politics here. I don't really cover politics that much on the Japan What podcast because I'm a gaijin and we can't vote. So why would I invest a lot of my time into a field that really wants nothing to do with me? It's kind of mutually beneficial. But there was a lower house election here, and the leading party, the LDP, which has basically had a total control over government here since the end of World War II. There's been a couple of times when it fell out of favor with the local population, and that's what happened this past weekend, where the new prime minister, Mr. Ishiba, former defense minister, called a snap election and lost a ton of seats. And they're wondering if they're going to be able to have a majority. It doesn't look like it. And they are a coalition government with the Soka, not the Soka Gakkai, that's the religious group that the Soka Gakkai is affiliated with, is the coalition party called the Komeito. And the Komeito had a lot of power, and they were considered like a spiritual Buddhist like balance to the LDP, kind of like this ferocious political machine. So you tie up a ferocious political machine with like a kind of it's labeled itself as like a working person's Buddhist organization, the Soka Gakkai, and the political arm of that, the Komeito, kind of represents a balanced view for the majority of Japan, is kind of falling out of favor. This is one of those major groups, the Soka Gakkai, and as a result, the Komeito. People like to separate them. Okay, fine, we'll separate them. But it arose in like the post-World War II Japan when a whole bunch of spiritual movements were like tearing through Japan. Happy Science. These aren't affiliated with each other. Happy Science. There was like a total widespread surge of spiritual belief sects. I want to be polite, but also not, I don't want to be technical about it. That just spread like wildfire all over Japan. But a lot of that generation is aging out, and they don't have the population to replace them, and the interest in the youth population, which is diminished already, to replace that. So they're kind of dropping off of a cliff of popularity. And the new leader of this political party, Komeito, I don't think he got his seat in the recent election. So we're seeing a massive change here. And I kind of know why, and it's not, my opinion is my opinion. So it's like a unique analysis of the situation would be not the main reason, which is what most political news mouthpieces and fountains of information like the Mainichi or the Yomiuri or the Asahi and the Sankei would say. They always say, oh, the LDP, which is facing a backlash because of a political slush scandal or slush fund scandal. It's like, it's not really the main reason. And they kind of do the sleazy journalist way of kind of combining two things without actually combining them. It's like losing popularity amid a political slush fund scandal. They use the word amid, or as a political slush fund scandal unfolds, it kind of puts two things right next to each other, but you carefully choose these Weasley words that doesn't actually connect them. It's like, well, there's just one thing happening and there's another thing happening. That's all we're saying. It's okay, that's all you're saying, I'm sure. But I don't think most people actually care about the political slush fund scandal to that extent, because it's something that, as we all know, is kind of a common thing with most, if not all, political organizations. It's not suddenly some unique thing. It's not like they discovered like a slave camp underneath the Diet building, and they were putting hooks into people's eyes and then selling the eyes to the highest bidder in China or Uruguay or some random thing that would really make people kind of go, what? We got to get rid of these guys. In my opinion, it's because of the Japanese government's refusal to let go of the World Economic Forum's policies, especially with the Prime Minister Kishida's policy of new capitalism, which is a stakeholder capitalism, which is to drive inflation, to increase wages, to have a loop of prosperity, some sort of nonsense like that. And it kind of does work, but these are mechanisms that don't operate like switches. Like, it's not like a light switch. So inflation is getting out of hand, but then you also have wage increases, but only for certain people. And they are getting very big wage increases, but the wage increases don't meet the rise of inflation. So you end up having less money. There's a currency devaluation going on, meaning most Japanese people can't travel, which is what most Japanese people did with a lot of their hard-earned free time. Because the yen is so low now. And I was talking with a guy just yesterday, actually, and he's saying that because the yen is so low, it's going to have an effect on a lot of Japanese corporations, meaning that a lot of foreign companies are going to be able to try and put bidding options on a lot of Japanese companies. What we are seeing with Japan 7 and 11 getting bidded multiple times by a Quebec company from Canada called Couche-Tard. And Couche-Tard, I think, means sleep in. I don't know. But it's a convenience store operator out of Canada. So we're seeing all of these actual negative effects because of the stance of the government's position with stakeholder capitalism. And it always leads to collapse, or the evidence suggests that it leads to collapse, and not everything collapses in the same way. Like we could say that 9/11 towers collapsed in the same way, but we've also seen other buildings collapse in different ways. Take that insinuation with what you will. I didn't use the word amid or as. So in Sri Lanka, they adopted a lot of the World Economic Forum strategies, and you can just look this up. It's all over the place. The Sri Lanka adopts World Economic Forum's green policies. 5 years later, the economy collapses. The political elites have to flee the country because the president's palace and everything like that are being stormed by the locals because they have no money and they're going crazy. And so it's like we're seeing not a collapse in Japan because the society itself is very robust on the day-to-day level. But when you start building these towers of Babel on top of the infrastructure, that's might be collapsing at the moment. And part of that collapse is the people's trust in the government, which is evidenced by this recent election. Only 53% of the people turned out to vote for it. But when we see all of these decisions being made and then the mainstream press refusing to bring up any of it, and they just kind of weasel their way with like a slush fund scandal with the word amid or as or potential reaction to, it doesn't provide a fresh or a realistic analysis of what's happening. But if you take a comparative approach and kind of say, well, Sri Lanka did this World Economic Forum thing and they collapsed, and well, Japan has been doing this World Economic Forum thing for quite some time, but not on the level that was evidenced by Kishida's government from 2020 to the recent one. Anyways, the recent one, maybe 2021 or 2022, it doesn't matter. So we are seeing the collapse based on these policies. These policies are filled with dreams, but they're dreams that lead to collapse. And it collapses in different ways. And this might just be another analysis, or this might be another methodology of collapse based on widespread adoption of World Economic Forum policies. So if anybody's listening, I would say ask your politicians to stop doing World Economic Forum policies because they lead to collapse. Look at what's happened in Sri Lanka. Look at what's happening to Japan, and take that with what you will. Another thing that's probably has a major impact on the reaction of the Japanese people. So they're seeing their valuation of their yen go way down. They're seeing unprecedented shitty-ass tourists come into their cities and flood them on a weekly basis of just insane trash. This guy I was talking to yesterday, he was a kind of like a tourism director before the pandemic of like finding people who want to go to ryokans or Japanese traditional inns in rural areas of Japan. And there was like a massive market for this, and he was making really good cash at it apparently. But then COVID happens, that shuts down, COVID reopens, and now all of those people are not exactly where they were before, so they found other things to do. And the market that's replaced it has just been like this trash market. And I'm not saying all the tourists are trash, but like that's like where the main money is, apparently, it seems. So it's just like trash tourism is washing over Japan. Whoa, something interrupted me just there. So that's kind of the analysis. And then so we have all this thing. But then on top of that, we have this article of news, which would probably also piss off a lot of people in Japan if they knew about it. And this is Japan to offer $3 billion for G7 Ukraine loan package. So amid all that, Japan decides to send $3 billion to Ukraine. It's like, well, what does Japan have to do with Ukraine? These are very tenuous links, but obviously it has to do with some sort of obligation, right? Why else would you do it? Japan has decided to contribute 471.9 billion yen as part of the Group of Seven's nation's $50 billion loan package to Ukraine, utilizing frozen Russian assets, a statement by their leader showed. So we're taking Russia's money, giving it to Ukraine, and then going to use Russia's money to rebuild Ukraine, apparently. That's the plan. That's the crazy-ass plan. And I think most people in Japan are kind of, they might be like, what are we doing this for? This is published, by the way, on October 29th, 2024 by the Mainichi Japan, and it's October 29th today, so it's today's news. Last Friday, the G7 countries, including the United States, Britain, and others, finalized the package aiming to start dispersing the funds to Ukraine later this year amid its war with Russia. Oh, look at that word, amid. Ukraine will not be obliged to repay the loans, as the lenders will be paid back from the extraordinary profits from the Russian sovereign assets. The G7 leaders agreed in principle on such financial assistance during their summit in June. Under the initiative, the European Union will provide 18.1 billion euros, while the U.S. plans to contribute $20 billion, according to the statement. The G7 members will individually make a loan contract and provide their financings in installments to meet Ukraine's funding needs between December 1st and the end of 2027. So that's the plan. So, yeah, as our money goes to shit, let's give more money to Ukraine. Oh, why aren't we popular? Well, it's obviously because of a slush fund scandal. Oh, okay, idiots. So that's the kind of an update for the political analysis from the Japan What podcast. I could be wrong. I could be onto something. I could be poopy crazy, but that's what it is. So I'm just going to punch out of the analysis with a nice little jingle. This is kind of an interesting take on things. I'm going to put it with this one. I'll do a little background read. Unverified info on new vaccine leads to rejection of customers. Now, I don't know what you think about the COVID vaccine. Maybe you like it. Maybe you hate it. I hate it. I didn't get it. But if you got it and that's fine for you, more power to you. I got really tired of the politicalization of medicine and how it goes one way. But I'm going to turn this off. So, hot yoga studio chain Lava asks users who took the new Replicon vaccine to refrain from entering its facilities. And there's a note that's been posted onto a door by the Lava staff. This new Replicon vaccine is, I've been in contact with people who are protesting it. And these are high-level doctors and things like that from Tokyo University and some journalists as well. And they've gone up to the Replicon facility up in Fukushima. So Fukushima needs the business. So the government decided to open up a new experimental mRNA facility up there. Is that good or is that not good? I don't know. But I won't be taking it. But this Replicon vaccine goes into the cells. And the previous mRNA vaccine, the way I understand it, it would go into the cell and it would replicate the spike protein for a certain amount of time. Like there would be like the cell would have a certain amount of vaccine in it that would allow it to make X amount of spike protein. But this new vaccine is a Replicon vaccine. So instead of just having a certain amount of capability for reproduction, it reproduces again so that it can make even more spike protein. I don't know why we need this. And a lot of people say the testing has been limited. It's only really limited in Japan as well for the time being, it seems. Maybe a couple of other places. But a lot of people are kind of unsure about it. And Lava is a yoga studio chain in Japan. And they have shops everywhere. And it's pretty mainstream. Way a long time ago, I briefly dated a woman who really liked it because it was easy to go to and easy to leave. And I may have had other relationships as well with people who have attended Lava or not. I don't want to be mixing the past with the present, if you know what I mean. I could get in big trouble for that. But anyway, so this new Replicon vaccine is getting backlash from major outlets. Now, if you remember if you even mentioned like negative side effects from the mRNA vaccine in 2021, 2022, 2023, you could get severely scolded or shunned by polite society. But now it seems a lot of people are saying, no, we actually don't want it. And this group from Lava Studios seems to be on the case as well. I'm not sure what I would say about that. It's up to them, I guess I would say, because a lot of people were saying, if you're not vaccinated, you can't leave your house. If you're not vaccinated, you can't have dinner with other people. If you're not vaccinated, you can't get onto airplanes. So this company is kind of saying, well, we don't know if these Replicon vaccines, are they spreading? Are they sloughing? We don't know. So we want people who get them just to stay away from us for a certain amount of time until the dust settles, I guess. So in this case, there's a bit of a backlash. Anyways, I'll continue here. Some stores and medical-related facilities have refused service for people inoculated with the Replicon COVID-19 vaccine because of unsubstantiated rumors about the dangers of the shots. Now, this is from the Asahi.com from, when is it? October 11th. So it's quite a while ago, but I just found it recently and thought I would bring it to the fore. Now, their policy may have changed since then, but other people are following a similar policy as well. So it's not to specify Lava Studio, but it's to specify a minor reaction to these shots that are affecting people's judgment of others. Now, in this article, Asahi is it's a mainstream media outlet. So, of course, they love the vaccine. I mean, it's just the best thing ever, and nothing ever bad happens from ever. It's amazing. If you do disagree with it, it's substantiated rumors. Health Minister Takamaro, did you get cancer recently? And a lot of people my age are getting cancer suddenly from everything. Oh, from nothing? From what? They died. Health Minister Takamaro Fukuoka tried to dispel fears that have spread over the internet that Replicon vaccine components can infect unvaccinated people. Now, is the word infect here, is that can spread, can infect? So if we used spread to, would that be unsubstantiated rumors? So this is how people get around the legalese. They consult with lawyers, and the lawyers will specify something that they can say, but it's a weaselly word, so they can say it without having legal repercussions to it. A similar thing is like people accusing Hungary of becoming like a totalitarian state, but they don't say totalitarian state. They say democratic backsliding, and they will say amid alleged democratic backsliding. And so they don't really say it's totalitarian or their opinion of it is totalitarian, therefore it has to be stopped. They say backsliding. Now, what is backsliding? It's like a marketing term, like Subway sandwiches in the mid 20s, the aughts, had a slogan like the taste of fresh. Now, that doesn't mean it's fresh. It just means it has the taste of something that is fresh. So you could say the taste of fresh, and if it wasn't technically fresh, you wouldn't be able to be sued because you're using the taste of fresh. So we all see this one thing that says fresh, but the way it's worded is to hide the fact that it might not be fresh, but we should be seeing fresh. The same thing is that happening with this statement by Health Minister Takamaro Fukuoka. I don't know. I'll use the weaselly words. Allegedly, I don't know. Allegedly, I am unsure. Health Minister Takamaro Fukuoka tried to dispel fears that have spread over the internet that replicon vaccine components can infect unvaccinated people. Well, what if we said spread to unvaccinated people? Would that be the same or would that be different? I wish there was some journalists with access to these health officials that could ask these questions, because that is a totally valid question. What if it's spread to unvaccinated people instead of infect? I mean, you're saying infect. The journalist is saying infect. What if we change that to spread to? Would that be a substantiated rumor or not? And if it is, okay, where's the evidence for that? And if it's not, where's the evidence for that? I mean, if we're following the science and the science is spoken, what is the relevance of this word infect in this statement here? And is it relevant? It is the same relevance of the statement given to an alternative word choice such as spread to. That's something like that. I don't know about you, but I think like that a lot about the stuff I read. Like, what is that? Why did they choose that word? Quote, there is no scientific evidence that the vaccine components can be transmitted to others and cause health damage. Well, that's what he said. So infect might be the wrong word here. Fukuoka said at a news conference on October 4th, transmitted to others and cause health damage. There we go. Maybe it's not. So I'm seeing it again. So what about vaccine components can be transmitted to others, period, full stop? Is that the same? There is no scientific evidence that the vaccine components can be transmitted to others, full stop. Or is it transmitted to others and cause health damage? So that's the difference that I would like to know. And just like, I'm not going to take it. And if somebody else takes it, that's their choice, and that's fine with that choice. But just from the perspective of public health, and public health has two very opposing sides to it. One is making the public healthier, but the other side to it is using surveillance technology to make sure that things aren't spreading. That's another major component to it, and that's where it comes from. Public health surveillance. Go look at the original founders of public health, and you'll be surprised how much surveillance comes into it. It makes sense. But concerns have persisted since replicon vaccine shots started in Japan this fiscal year. The replicon vaccine, they need a better name for it if they want people to not be scared of it. Replicon vaccine sounds terrifying to me. If it was happy vaccine, I would be like, it's better. The replicon vaccine is structured to make self-copies of mRNA, a blueprint of part of a virus, inside cells, and to temporarily increase the amount of mRNA. No, thank you. The vaccine is called self-amplifying because it replicates within the body. At clinical trials conducted in Japan, some patients felt pain in the injected parts of their bodies. Other subjects felt a sense of fatigue as a side effect. However, most of the symptoms were mild or moderate, or myocarditis is rare and disappeared a few days. And myocarditis is also mild and rare. Most of the symptoms were mild or moderate and disappeared a few days after the shots were administered. Okay, fine, that's good. The vaccine's self-amplifying nature has led to rumors that components of the actual virus can be transmitted from inoculated individuals to others. Quote, "We are refusing to allow people who took Replicon vaccines to enter our store for a while," a hair salon located in Maebashi, Gunma Prefecture, said on its blog. The owner of the hair salon in her 50s said that she learned the risks from social media and books. And the risks are in quote here. So this, of course, is Asahi. They love it. She said she previously had not rejected people from her store because of vaccines, but she has long distrusted the government and the media because they haven't provided information on the disadvantages of COVID-19 vaccines. A company that operates hot yoga studio chain Lava told Replicon vaccine users on its website, quote, "Until the safety of the vaccine is confirmed, please refrain from entering our facilities," end quote. When asked by Asahi reporters about the policy, the company said in an email, quote, "We refrain from providing any information beyond what has been announced on the official website," end quote. A dental clinic located in Tokyo asked patients who took the Replicon vaccines to wait 6 months after the shots before entering the clinic again. It said the effects of the vaccine wear off after 6 months. An official of the medical corporation that operates the dental clinic said it decided on the policy based on information gained through the internet and books that pointed out the danger of the Replicon vaccine. Quote, "Although I didn't read the books, we thought it would be better to avoid Replicon vaccinated patients if such books have been published," the official said. The official also feels the government hasn't explained enough about the risks of the vaccine. Quote, "We can't figure out what it is. We thought if safety is not adequately confirmed, we should avoid it," the official said. So, and then it kind of goes on from there. Calm response urged. I wonder about the need for this. What is the need for this? I don't know. I don't understand the need for this. We just vaccinated. We're not vaccinated, but we administered jabs to billions of people with the mRNA. And I know a lot of people that had COVID that didn't get vaccinated and are fine. I know a lot of people that got vaccinated that had really bad reactions. Like they would talk to me about them. They had balance issues for weeks. One guy couldn't lift his arm up past his shoulder where it was administered for a while. Another person had a few people I know had rapid heart palpitations. And then some other people, fevers, and it all kind of went away. But then they all got COVID and they all had the same symptoms as the people that I know that got COVID but didn't get vaccinated. So I'm kind of wondering, and now I know my brother-in-law died earlier this year of a cancer that came back. I don't know if that's because of COVID jabs or not. But in my mind, it's on the back burner. I wonder. But I'm not venomously spraying like, it was that. I don't know. But it's like, was it? I'm not sure. Like, is this what's contributing? But a lot of people have cancer that comes back. I can't remember what it's called when your cancer comes back. Anyways, you probably have the word in your head and you're like, it's this word, Mr. Bigelow. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad for you. And another person, my friend's wife just got breast cancer, mid-40s, late 40s as well. That happens as well, but it's just like all of a sudden it's I don't know, but is it or is it not? But we don't really get good information from anybody because it's like the politician gets the information from an expert and the expert's funded by a pharmaceutical company or big medical, and then big news. Like here, it's unsubstantiated rumors, but then the government is like, they don't really clarify. They just kind of say there is no scientific evidence that the vaccine components can be transmitted to others and cause health damage. So I don't know if they've spent like 5 hours with lawyers or if this person like went into a medical facility and hit the books. We just don't know. But I get the feeling that nobody really knows anything and they're just trying to CYA, cover your ass.
Here we go.
By the way, if you want to take the vaccine, I'm not going to stop you. I don't care. Isn't that nuts? That's a lot of time to spend on that, too. All right, well, let's take a look at Japan Society 5.0.
The fourth industrial revolution will enable us to create a new society. artificial intelligence will transform the big data collected through the Internet of Things into new wisdom. Society 5.0, a technology-based, human-centered society. The fourth industrial revolution will raise our standard of living and solve various challenges we face. It will, for example, free us from the stress of driving, allowing us to safely visit anyone, anytime. We will have access to the latest medical advancements at a low cost, no matter where we are. AI.
All right, so that jingle, as I like to say, is the Japanese government's Japan Society 5.0 promotional video song that I got from YouTube a while back, years and years ago. And it's their vision for having like a technologically driven AI society for people. And there's two sides to this aspect that I kind of cover. One is the bureaucratic side. And the bureaucratic side, which is, of course, the government side, is also tied in with the World Economic Forum. I hate to bring it up all the time, and it's not my intent, but when I hear this...
The Fourth Industrial Revolution.
Well, that's a book titled by Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum. His book is called The Fourth Industrial Revolution. So it's like if I don't mention that, then I am not providing the information, right? But then it's not like everything inside of Japan's AI society or AI startup ecosystem is directly tied to it. It's far from it. There's kind of two sides. There's this bureaucratic side that likes to talk about the dreamy SDGs and using AI to solve poverty issues. But then there's the aggressive startup companies, and they're figuring out ways to filter this technology into the world around us and how to implement it into the world around us and kind of create a product that sells well, that people actually want to use instead of having it forced upon them. Like they will find out about this product or this service with facial recognition technology in this first case today and say, oh yeah, that suits my consumer needs. I would invest my money into that, or shut up and take my money. Yeah, that type of idea. So I think it's great if this technology is coming to us. I think the so-called free market, but more market-driven decisions as opposed to government-driven decisions are going to lead to more use cases that have clear beginnings and clear endings, because the other comparative scenario that we can look at, like looking at Sri Lanka in one case, but in this case, looking at China's surveillance state comes from the command economy perspective, and it kind of has everything everywhere all the time all at once. And for me, it almost becomes like a schizophrenic's reality. Like they're following me. They know where I am. They know what I'm doing. There's a camera that's reading my phone as I scan for payments. And then if they don't like it, then I'm going to get punished. They're going to come and punish me. And that's exactly what happens in China. Not to everyone all the time, like I kind of mentioned, but it's spreading across the country in that way. And there's no like clear beginnings or endings. And a weird one that I learned about quite a while ago, like 6-7 years ago, would be AI cameras in the classroom to analyze student behavior and also to automatically deliver test results to the parents. So you would get like little pictures that the AI camera would take of your kid, if doing good or doing bad, and you would get the test results for your child, but not only for your child, but for every other student in the class. So if I would have access to basically all the other students' grades, and it's just sent to my phone, whether I like it or not. So this is a case where it's just, here you are, here it is, total surveillance, and you have no idea where it begins or where it ends. But the private industry will be able to say, well, this is how we're applying it, this is where we're putting it in, and this is therefore where it begins and ends. So when you leave that scenario, you leave that aspect of this weird surveillance service behind, and so you can clearly begin and end things, so it doesn't become a schizophrenic's reality. So let's take a look at this first one here. Group company DXYZ's facial recognition platform, FreeDo or Free ID, will be installed in the 4th apartment building developed by Mugen Estate. Now, I've covered Free ID or FreeDo a few times on the podcast, and I was surprised that this is a major way in which facial recognition is becoming adopted by local Japanese interests. Migaro Holdings Inc., head office in Shinjuku-ku, a company that creates new value by fusing the digital and the real worlds, is pleased to announce that its group company, DXYZ, has introduced the facial recognition Free ID or FreeDo to Side Place Jujo, a rental apartment complex being developed by Mugen Estate Limited, and that's one of the aspects here. This latest installation marks the 4th apartment complex developed by Mugen Estate to feature the system, and its installation is expanding throughout the country. This is a list of places that have introduced Free ID or FreeDo. Side Place Ikebukuro, completed in June 2023. Side Place Omotosando, completed in September 2023. Side Place Hirai, completed in March 2024. And Side Place Jujo, completed in September 2024. So this platform was developed and provides facial recognition, which can be linked with a wide variety of AI services. And simply by registering your face on a smartphone app, you can link to various daily actions, such as leaving the building, entering the building, ID verification, and payment. With facial recognition, eliminating the need for keys or a wallet and realizing connecting the world with just your face. The FreeDo apartment solution, which is offered to apartment complexes, is developing Japan's first all-face authentication apartment that does not require any keys, from common areas such as the entrance and elevator to each private area, making living with just your face a reality. In addition to apartment complexes, the company is expanding their services to offices, nurseries, golf courses, theme parks, and are also conducting demonstration projects for a payment service by integrating Japan's digital ID card, My Number services. I'm going to stop it there. I think it's totally fine. I wouldn't mind having such a service sometimes, to be honest, especially if I have a child and the child is lost and they come home but they don't have a key. Scan their face, they can come home and they can feel safe. Something like that. I think it's great. One thing that I would just say would be, what's the supply chain aspect to this service? Where are these cameras coming from? Do you have a stable supply of them? If we see supply chain disruptions, are you going to be able to replace them if they break? Or what if the company that you're making them from now goes out of business and then they're purchased by somebody else and then they repurpose them? So how would you reinstall all of these cameras and so on? And that would be my main thing, because they're probably coming from China. All right, next one. Smart home service Space Core begins offering smart intercoms for apartment complexes with facial recognition. So this is another example of how facial recognition is spreading in Japan via complexes. Axel Labs, another place that's headquartered in Shinjuku-ku, not too far from the Aizumicho Studios in the armpit of Asia here. This company, which plans, develops, and provides the smart home service Space Core, has begun offering the AccuVox and AccuVox S539. Smart intercoms for apartment complexes that support automatic unlocking by facial recognition at the entrance. This service allows residents to communicate with visitors through the app, even when they're at home or away from their phone or home, and they can also unlock the automatic lock on the Space Core app. In addition, the service is equipped with the function that allows you to smoothly pass through the entrance using facial recognition when you return home. So this is, of course, a competitive product to the previous one, FreeDo. But this is just, I'll be posting pictures of this to MatthewPMBigelow.com. It's kind of like an advanced Ring, if you know what Ring is, the Amazon product. It's expanding that kind of idea where you have a camera on your front of your home and you can access it with your phone and talk to people there. But what if it's also a lock equipped with facial recognition technology? So before it was just Frido. It spread to 4 or 5 apartment complexes. Of course, this is published in the PRTimes.jp, which means that other companies looking for facial recognition solutions are going to become knowledgeable about this spread and then emulate it or compete against it with their own bevy of options. Next one, Renatus Robotics forms capital alliance with Japan Post Capital. This one's just a capital alliance, but it just kind of shows that, where is Renatus from? Oh, it's a Japanese company. I just researched it. So that's cool. Renatus Robotics, domestically manufactured and in-house integrated automated warehouse systems, is an automated warehouse system that integrates the role of transport conveyor in the loading and unloading process with a high-speed shuttle that can move freely in all directions. In order to update the working environment in logistics sites around the world, we are working to automate warehouses with Renatus, I can't remember how to pronounce it, and reduce costs and improve storage efficiency. There's not a lot of, it's just more of an announcement that they're going to work together, but Japan Post has a lot of money, and this robotics company, I'm glad that it's a Japanese one, because a lot of the way that the storage is done in Japan has to be so tightly managed and usually vertical because of the lack of space. So, for example, I know some people that were involved in the Coca-Cola bottling process. And in Japan, you have to have like these vertically integrated systems because there's not enough space. So some person might come over from South Africa who has a lot of space and it's all flat. And all of their ideas for improving efficiency in Japan are totally moot because of the way that you have to have a building basically do it. And then you come into the idea of how do you go up and down instead of back and forth and blah, blah, blah. So it's good that JP Post and Robotics or Renatus or a Japanese company are working together. Next one. Now, I'm currently job hunting. And I spent 5 years in the telecoms industry from 2015 to 2020 researching AI. And at 2015, the hiring process was all done face-to-face. But since 2020, the amount of AI rollout for HR especially has been off the chain. Like I said, it's just like it keeps coming and coming, wave after wave. And this is no exception. I'm running into this system, these issues right now where I'm looking for jobs and I'm applying for jobs and I'm not sure if the thing that I'm interacting with is AI. And of course, a lot of people are just pumping their own AI into the AI. So we kind of have like this self-reflexive AI loop. I kind of refuse to participate in it to that extent. I much prefer a face-to-face approach, but I can understand certain aspects of having an AI interviewer for a first stage, because if you're in a position and you're interviewing 100 candidates for one position, there's probably going to be 33% of those candidates that aren't even going to make it. So an AI screener would be able to interview somebody and you'd be able to set up criteria to understand whether you would like that person or not. So somebody, for example, if you're hiring like a front staff of a hotel, just like as an example, you would probably want somebody who smiles a lot and makes a lot of eye contact. So if you have to hire one person, you're interviewing 100 people, and you have 33 people who are mumbling and looking down at the ground and not in a good mood, well, you've just wasted your time with 33 people. So you would have an AI interviewer do it, but the camera would be doing smile analysis, using biometric reading, and using eye contact, using, just a simple eyes facing camera, yes or no. And you'd be able to whittle those people out. But I've also seen that similar approach because some of this stuff is, I hate to say it, it's kind of female coded. And what happened with one guy that I researched this quite extensively about 5 years ago, and I've mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. He was like an Asian guy, and he's not very social, but he loves crunching numbers. So he was doing these interviews with AI agents, and he was always getting rejected. And it's because he wasn't smiling enough. But that meant he wasn't having fun or he wasn't enjoying himself. But he went for a person-to-person interview at a regional bank, and the person looked at him and it's just like, oh, so you're just like a quiet Asian dude type who loves crunching numbers. And he's like, that is what I like. I like it very much. he kind of responded in this monotone way. But the banker guy was like, well, okay, I need someone like you. And so he just gives him the Excel sheets. He gives him the data. The guy sits by himself crunching numbers all day, who feeds into the bank. It's exactly what the bank needs. The regional bank manager is happy he hired him. And this Asian guy who's crunching numbers is like, this is the best job. I am so happy I am here. This is great. But he has zero emotion on his face. But who cares? Internally, he's happy. So what I mean to say is, for these types of AI screenings, depending on the job, it's appropriate. So if, like I said, a person at a front hotel staff, you would need to have all of this criteria match, right? If I was a manager and I don't want to hire somebody who's mumbling and who needs to talk to the people coming into the restaurant or to the hotel where I'm working. I want them to be happy. I want them to be nice. I want them to be personable. I don't want them having face tattoos. But if somebody is working in the back of a warehouse, well, who cares if they have a face tattoo, for example? So I've seen this kind of go well and go unwell. And obviously the people who are implementing these solutions from HR perspective might not even know what the hell is going into this AI background, but they're just told to use it. And so they do. And they're like, this math guy wasn't smiling enough. Get rid of him. So that's kind of what happened. Let's take a look here. Kieran Holdings introduces a trial of AI interviewer. AI supports everything from resume reading to first interviews. This is an Orwellian nightmare. Varietas has announced that it has begun a trial implementation of its in-house developed AI interviewer to Kieran Holdings Limited, with sales cooperations from Revit Global Inc. to support strategic human resources operations. The traditional interview hiring method was mainly for companies to assess students through document screening and a first interview. But in modern times, diversity is being emphasized, and this method is being reconsidered. So you have a racist. So if I was going to say, I can't hire you because you're skin color X, I can hire you because you're skin color Y, I'm going to get sued. But if it's the AI doing it, who are you going to sue? You can't sue an AI. So this is great. You could just be like, you hire, wow. How about this idea? It's like you say you're looking for diversity, and this guy who's actually a real racist, he takes a AI interviewer, makes him like a very African black type AI interviewer, and it gives him like a thick African accent and everything. I love African accents. They're one of the most beautiful accents in the whole world. I actually quite like them a lot. But just for the sake of this argument, and then the total racist manager says to the AI, well, if the person you're interviewing is black, get rid of him. So then maybe the black interviewee would see a black AI interviewer and go, oh, well, if I don't get the job, it can't be because of racism because the AI interviewer was black. But in fact, it's just like you go two steps up the ladder and you have this group of crazy racists who are inverting the system so that they can avoid hiring the so-called diversity that they claim to be looking for. Crazy. Don't get angry at me for coming up with these ideas, because I assure you, I am not the only one who has looked at this idea and considered it for such purposes. That's why I don't like this so much, except for certain situations. But the fact that you have AI automating diversity hiring is insane. The AI interviewer is a service to maximize the abilities of job candidates and staff reading application forms and conducting first interviews to evaluate candidates from multiple angles. By introducing the AI interviewer, we can handle everything from document screening to interviews without straining human resources, which is expected to reduce the number of applicants who fail the document screening process. In addition, we will pursue sustainability and innovation to strengthen sustainable efforts in recruitment. The AI interviewer is based on generative AI and can conduct interviews in a natural conversational format with candidate satisfaction reading 95%. Because they don't have to do the job. I didn't have to do my job. I love this thing. Yeah, guess what happened in 2 fiscal quarters, You're not going to have a job. By utilizing the AI interviewer, it is possible to accurately assess the potential of candidates from 6 times more perspectives than in a normal interview and find candidates who may have been overlooked in the initial selection process. Blah, blah, blah. It goes on from there. So I don't know. It's happening, though, whether you like it or not. Companies are allocating diversity hiring to AI avatars. 2024. Insane. And that's one thing I've learned is that a lot of this technology, it's like, we aim to use it for the diversity. But it's like, well, what about that Asian guy applying for a bank? He might be diverse if he's in a part of America that doesn't have a large Asian population, but he wasn't smiling enough. Get rid of him. Dentsu to use AI copywriter. So Dentsu is Japan's largest advertising agency, and they have some interesting practices. So let me just leave it at that. Dentsu to use AI copywriter for audio advertising. Launches project to expand audio advertising market from aismiley.co.jp. So, this, I'm just going to start in the middle here. So this is a Japanese website, and they repeat the same information for the first 3 or 4 paragraphs. And the information that they're repeating is the same information from the headline. So I'm just going to jump into the middle here. Well, the audio advertising market, centered on radio broadcasting and audio distribution services, is steadily growing. Corporate marketing activities tend to prioritize the production of video advertising materials, such as TV commercials and video distribution. Creating audio advertisements requires time and money, which causes many companies to give up on advertising. Therefore, in addition to the traditional production method of using performers and recording in a studio, we have prepared an easy to produce option that also guarantees the quality of the ad text. By promoting the ICO Audio Ad Project, we hope to encourage more companies to use audio advertising, leading to the revitalization of the audio advertising market. So specifically, we generate audio ad scripts of about 15 to 60 seconds based on the many high-quality catchphrases generated by AI CO2. Based on the scripts, we are building a workflow that uses voice AI software to create audio ad materials in as little as about 1 hour. Oh, interesting. This is a pencil. Hold on. I'll pipe this in. Let's take a look at this this AI audio advertisement for a pencil. All right, I found it. Here it goes.
鉛筆の良さってその人の声が聞こえてくるような手書きの文字手に馴染む木のぬくもり小学生の自分にタイムスリップできる書いた文字は世界でただ一つ紙と擦れ合う音が楽しい太く細く強く弱くどんな線も書けるそれはその時の自分しか書けない特別なもの鉛筆じゃないとできないことを愛子鉛筆
All right, so that's the AI generated commercial for a pencil. I could tell that those were AI voices. I don't know about you. At first, it was pretty clever, but there's some things that just don't pass the sniff test, if you know what I mean. It smells like something, like AI. But so does the music that I use for the end of show that reviews the topics for the day. So anyways, have you ever heard an AI pencil advertisement in Japanese before? Probably not. Only on the Japan What podcast. So make sure to go to MatthewPMBigelow.com. You can also listen on modern podcast apps such as Podverse, Get Rid of Your Legacy app, and you can also go to MatthewPMBigelow.com and find a donation link, or you can just go to PayPal at paypal.me/JapanWUT. That's paypal.me/JapanWUT. Moving on. Newsia launches AI model agency agency providing advanced and affordable AI models tailored to corporate needs. It's interesting this is coming to the forefront. I used to research this a lot too. I was surprised that AI and advertising were going hand in hand at about 4 or 5 years ago. So this service utilizes the latest AI technology. They generate AI models quickly and flexibly according to the needs of our client companies. And by combining them with other AI products, we provide more added value. Traditional promotion requires a lot of effort and cost, such as contracts with models, costs related to shooting, arranging studios, readjusting the brand image, and etc. In addition, human models are at risk of scandals and troubles, which makes them unstable elements in long-term brand strategies. On the other hand, AI models can significantly reduce the cost of photography and the hassle of contracts, making them a cost-effective option, especially for large-scale promotional campaigns and e-commerce site operations. AI models can generate models that match the image of a brand or product in a short period of time. Because they can run 365 on any platform, client companies can immediately use the models when they need them, enabling speedy promotion. And in addition, there's no risk of scandal or trouble. And it kind of goes on from there. Now, this was done by some NVIDIA-backed companies or researchers. I can't remember his name, but they found a way to do model generation by looking at model headshots. And this would be a step-by-step pixelization so that you would have like the rough outline of a body and then define that body more and more and more. And then you have like a model that would be like a swimsuit model. But if the swimsuit model is like not the target market, like let's just say you're looking for somebody who might be again in Malaysia, you might have to have a little bit more modesty and a kind of like a Southeast Asian skin. So you'd be able to like say a little bit more clothing, or you'd be able to adjust the color of their skin as well. And you'd be able to then generate multiple models of that, put them onto an advertising framework, and then put your logo on it, and then add it to the online site, the e-commerce site, something like that. And then if you have those same swimsuit designs, but now you're marketing them to Norway, you would just make them taller and whiter. And bada bing, bada boom, you don't have to hire all those models. And then sometimes models go off the deep end and get into drugs or crimes and things like that. You can avoid all of that as well. So this is like replacing models. This is the reason I brought in today's topic here is we are looking at voice actors going out of business, definitely. And we are looking at models going out of business, definitely. I have a good friend who is a male model who's done a lot of male modeling in Japan. Maybe certain people in niche markets can keep their jobs, but it looks like probably not, because you can just make those people, have them scandal free. You don't have to have your company search out the models. You just have some software engineers in your company that maybe even have some extra engineers lying around. You just reassign them to the modeling division, work with the fashion people. And then you cut out a massive part of cost, and you cut out a massive part of time from your company, and now you're cruising along. It just makes nothing but sense. Crazy, huh? So I'm not sure if we thought like models and voice actors would be going out of business so soon, but they might be. I just did a quick search earlier today in preparation for the show of self-driving. There's a lot of level 4 self-driving cars being rolled out, but I realized that even though they say sometimes I was covering this new bus that's going to drive at like 60 kilometers an hour between train stations and bus stations or something like that in northern Japan. Well, that's been postponed. So I'm just going to do a little bit of review, and a lot of the new level 4 cars that are being okayed to be driven on Japanese roads by the government are very similar in nature. It's a slow rollout, but a rollout nonetheless. And let's just kind of review for today. JR East postpones, that's Japan Rail. Japan Rail East postpones level 4 autonomous driving on Kesenuma line. The first driverless self-driving car in the 3 Tokai prefectures to be approved as level 4 at the Resort Vision in Takitown, Mie Prefecture. NTT Docomo or NTT tests autonomous shuttle service, laying the groundwork for level 4. That's in Aichi Prefecture, at the center of Nagoya. China to expand autonomous driving model. Shocker. The companies will begin, sorry, that's not very interesting. The first driverless self-driving car in the 3 Tokai, that's the Mie Prefecture. Test ride of the driverless level 4 autonomous bus in Kamishihiro Town. And NEC tests communication system to support level 4 autonomous driving using local 5G in Hitachi City, Ibaraki Prefecture, and Komatsu City, Ishikawa Prefecture. And last one for today, Hokkaido's Kamishihiro Town begins level 4 autonomous driverless demonstration of a bus there. So bus is the kind of the key point. I've covered it before, but it's like it's a bus that holds 8 to 12 people. It drives like 15 kilometers an hour on average from a hospital to a station or from like a care center to a station. It tends to be providing elderly people that don't have driver's licenses anymore ways to get to the places they need to get to, where they tend to aggregate in Japan, which is in care centers and stuff like that. A couple more. I'm not going to go too much into this, but JR East, continuing with JR, Japan Rail East, to remotely monitor drainage pumps with AI cameras. So this is to identify things before they get to wayward. Next one. The latest food technology is gathered at the some sort of fair, including the world's first seasoning robot and refrigerator equipped with AI cameras. Oh, now I have some thoughts on the refrigerators equipped with AI cameras. This was supposed to be something where you would have an AI camera in your fridge, and when your milk got too low, it would automatically order it for you. Then you would come home and you would have milk in your fridge or something like that. Didn't really go anywhere, but I could see AI cameras in refrigerators be very useful from the perspective of managing and operating a small chain of restaurants, because oftentimes there's differences in how capable your managers are. And so you'd be able to monitor how capable they are by having AI cameras in the refrigerators. You'd also be able to monitor things like theft and so on. So, you could also be used for training, like, oh, hey, manager, I noticed that you were getting down and it was kind of a little bit too late to be ordering more stock for this. Make sure you get on that or something like that. I could see it for something like that, but I wonder if anybody will. The latest food technology has been gathered together, including the world's first seasoning robot. This food exhibition, which began on the 24th in Nihonbashi, Tokyo, brings together cooking techniques and foods using the latest technology. Not only with artificial intelligence, be able to suggest the best recipe based on the ingredients, but it will also be possible to create an infinite number of flavors by varying the ratio of up to 19 seasonings. Ooh, that sounds terrible. Ugh. In the future, they hope to make it available for use in the restaurant industry and at home. Panasonic exhibited a refrigerator equipped with an AI camera. In addition to identifying which vegetables best consumed quickly, the app can also suggest ingredient recipes with the aim of reducing food waste in the home. I don't know about that. This seems kind of ridiculous. This is the ones, I'll be posting a YouTube video up at MatthewPMBigelow.com, and you could see if this type of food technology will be the type of thing that you expect to see in your neck of the woods. Anything else? Just a quick more headlines here. Kizukumo, a US-made network camera that uses AI to grasp crowding conditions and detect suspicious people, is bringing positive change to Japan's labor shortage society. This is just another example of more society. It's the first attempt to localize a network camera solution developed by Alarm.com, a major American smart home company, for the Japanese market, and provide it under its own brand. The service aims to contribute to not only crime prevention, but also business efficiency. The biggest feature is its awareness function, which notifies users in real time according to preset situations. Conventional cameras were mainly used to check footage after the fact, but Kizukumo sends an alert the moment an abnormality occurs, providing a system into which people can respond immediately. In addition, as a marketing function, it supports operational improvements in store management by understanding the flow of people through counting and visualizing popular areas of stores using heat maps. This is kind of old style surveillance, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but the fact that it's more and more companies are trying to penetrate the Japanese market is just something of note. All right. That's the Japan Society 5.0 for today. So today's takeaway from this is that we're seeing very rapid deployment of jobs that nobody really cares about, like voice actors for radio advertisements. We don't really care about them. Models for commercials and TV and stuff like that. We don't care about them at all. But they might be our friends. They might be an extended family member. They might have been somebody who relies on that income to generate enough extra side income so that they can pay their car insurance or something like that every year. So it's disrupting the labor situation intensely, and it's only going to magnify from here. So get ready for more. I mean, does it really matter if the person reading an advertisement on the radio is an annoying AI voice or an annoying human voice? For me, not so much, but I do sympathize with all those people who are getting shown the door rather quickly. We don't need your stupid voice.
The fourth industrial revolution will enable us to create a new society. Artificial intelligence will transform the big data collected through the Internet of Things into new wisdom. Society 5.0, a technology-based, human-centered society. The fourth industrial revolution will raise our standard of living and solve various challenges we face.
The fourth industrial revolution.
The fourth industrial revolution.
They say it twice for a reason. We're going to do a segment here that I rarely get to do, but when the time arises, I step to the plate and try to hit a home run.
Stupid Gaijin of the week. Stupid Gaijin, SGOTW.
Stupid Gaijin of the week. Today, we have a very special Stupid Gaijin of the week. Good job from Momotaro. A suitcase containing 16 kilograms of smuggled marijuana was discovered by smell. A Spanish man was arrested on suspicion of smuggling. When is this from? October 13th, 2024. On the 11th, the Narita Customs branch of the Tokyo Customs at the Narita International Airport police station, announced that they had arrested a Spanish man with no fixed address and no job on charges of violating the Cannabis Control Act and sent him to the Chiba District Distribution Prosecutor's Office. I said that wrong. The arrest was made on September 20th, and the charges sent to the prosecutors on the 22nd. The arrest was made following an investigation using a drug detection dog. I guess the dog is named Momotaro. The man is accused of attempting to smuggle about 16 kilograms of marijuana worth about 80 million yen at street price, that's about $800,000, in a suitcase from Thailand's airport on September 20th. He reportedly admitted to the charges, saying, "I intended to use it to myself and sell it at bars and clubs in Tokyo. The amount of marijuana smuggled was the second highest among airline passengers at Narita Airport in the past 20 years." The incident was discovered when Momotaro, a drug detection dog, male, 2 years and 6 months old, sniffed the man's suitcase at the baggage handling area of Narita Airport and sat in front of him. Yasumitsu Okada, head of the Drug Detection Dog Training Center, said, quote, "We would like to continue contributing to the crackdown on illegal drugs." That's it. Wow. So related articles. Spanish man found with 102 stimulant capsules worth 60 million yen in his body. Woman attempts to smuggle 20 cloth bags filled with dissolved stimulants from Guatemala. Woman sentenced to prison for smuggling cocaine at the request of foreign man. A rare method nationwide. Stimulants were mixed into 12,000 buttons. They were allegedly smuggled by sewing them into trousers. So always people trying to smuggle crap into Japan. I'm not like a anti-weed guy. It depends on where you are and with the culture and everything, but I don't go to other countries and break their laws. So I'm in Japan. I'm not a weed guy in Japan, and that's fine with me. It's not like it's some major thing that reflects my overall view in life if I get it or don't get it. But the thing is that the type of person that is willing to just wantonly try to smuggle 16 kilograms of marijuana into a country that obviously forbids it, like strictly so, I don't want that type of person in Japan. I'm glad that they caught this guy and are throwing his ass into the slammer because you don't know what else he's going to do. What else is he going to do? It's not the fact that it's marijuana. It's the lengths at which someone is willing to go to. And then what else is he going to spread? Is it going to go into other things? Is he going to open up an English school and say, I hope nobody ever found out about that? Or is something else going to happen? Is there something else up with his ambitions? So that is today's
Stupid Goddamn of the Week. Stupid Goddamn, SGOTW.
All right, and that's going to be it for today. Don't go away yet because we have the AI song where I put the headlines from today's research into Grok, turn it into lyrics, clean it up a bit with ChatGPT, put it into suno.com and prompt it to make some hopefully enjoyable review listening for the listeners of the Japan What podcast. So remember to go to MatthewPMBigelow.com for the review, for the pictures, for the links, and donation ideas. Or go to paypal.me/JapanWUT. That's paypal.me/JapanWUT. Make a donation because nobody else is putting information together quite like this. So until next time, everybody, I bid thee a warmful and heartful ja mata.
This week on the Japan What podcast, info, tech, geopolitics, still the balance. Rumors fly, vaccines denied, while Japan's at G7 billion supply. In this world, tech's the game we play. From Russia's cars to AI sway, facial recognition in buildings new. It's coming fast on the Japan What podcast. Space Core's here with a smart hello. Intercoms with faces they know. Green actors and post in a dance so grand. AI interviews by Kieran's hand. AI in tow, audio ads, watch them grow. Enthusiast models, AI and chic, corporate needs, they surely speak. China's quest beyond our sphere, for life and planets year by year. Ships expelled in waters wide, in this tech age we're all tied. To space and AI's rise, we're living in a tech surprise. Headlines hum, a melody of progress and our new reality. So here we stand in this modern spree, where tech and news create harmony. In this dance of change we'll find our way. It's not in the future, it's here and we're covering it on the Japan What podcast. The Japan What